Hey everybody, welcome back to the flight deck for our first look at the CRJ700 from AeroSoft. Now I've done the tutorial flight, starting to get a feel for it. These are kind of my, the next few flights in this are going to be check flights. Pretty much we're going to run through everything. I'm sure I'm going to forget things and it's going to be a little bit rough, but we'll see how we do. Today we're flying from Birmingham. We're here at Maquisim's Birmingham Airport and we're heading up to Glasgow. So let's hop on board and we will start getting this aircraft ready to go. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. That's the one I wanted. So here we are inside the aircraft. It is cold and dark and we are going to start setting it up. And I do have an extensive checklist here, which we are going to go through. So circuit breakers are located on the back walls here. They are checked and closed. Nose wheel steering switch is off. Hydraulic pumps are all off. Landing gear lever is down. Flight spoiler lever is retracted. Slats and flaps lever is up. And actually it should be set to match what the aircraft is. So if we look at the aircraft, yeah, everything is up, so that is good. You don't want the hydraulics to power up and all of a sudden they start moving. Radar is off. ADG manual release is stowed. Actually, let's go take a look at that. Is stowed. You can see down here at the bottom. Emergency flap switch is normal. And battery master switch, we'll go to the overhead, is now on. APU is not yet required. We are going to go to the ground power. So we will have the ground power cart come in. And then once he's in and hooked up, we will turn on the ground power and we'll get our electricity that way. Let's kill the cautions. Come on, buddy. How many attempts is this going to take you? Don't hit the plane. All right, did the magic slide and he's now in. So there we go. You can hear everything starting to start up. AC electrics. So we come up here to the electrics page and it's as required. IRS goes into nav mode. So back down we go. Oops. Parking brake stays on. And that's nav and nav. Emergency equipment is checked. It's all in the cockpit. Gear and safety pins are on board. Airplane documents are on board. Hydraulic 3A pump. Oops. We want to go up to the overhead. That's this one. There's the hydraulics. 3A pump goes on. That's electric driven hydraulics. And if we come down here to the reach here and we go to hydraulics and we look up here, we can see 3A is on and providing hydraulic pressure. And then we'll go back. Oop. Go back up, turn it off. And FMS Initialization is here. So nav database is good. Active database is current. Time is correct in sim time. And we will go to our position init. So here's our FMS position. We're going to put in the airport of EGBB. We'll put that in there. We'll grab that and we'll put that in as our position. and that is set. We can go to the other pages. There's our FMS, our GNS, GPS positions, and our IRS positions, which are aligning right now. So that's why we can't see them. So we'll go to our flight plan. We are originating today out of EGBB, and our destination is EGPF. Now our alternate today, just got to find it here, EGNT. That's I think that's Newcastle. I don't know. Nottingham. EGNT is our alternate. Originating runway today will be runway 33. Okay, and we will put that in. So that is all set. We will execute that, and that gives us our initial route. We'll go into our departure. We are departing on the Leuven 1 Mike, which is there, off runway 33, which is selected. So we'll execute that. And now we can go back to our flight plan. And we can start entering in. So we're going to Leuven, and from Leuven we are going direct to TNT. And then TNT we're going on the airway N57 to Pole. And from Pole we're going on the UN 601. And we are going to Ribble, R-I-B-E-L. That's R-I-B-E-L. And we're going to Ribble. So we'll execute that. We will then go into our arrival section. So we want arrival. We are going in on the Ribble 1 Gulf. So next page, Ribble 1 Gulf. And we'll be landing on the ILS for runway 23. And the transition will be vectors. So we will execute that. We can now go to our legs page and take a look. You can see 7 pages of information here, a couple of restrictions. There's a discontinuity at Ribble. So we are going to go from Tape Niska, we'll put it in there and execute. That takes us in. That's the best approach. This is where we get those vectors. Now if we go take a look at our Navigraph on the approach, on the Ribble, so Lannick, and then we would get vectors to the ILS, and that point that it wants to put us in should be .3 motel was 1.2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you and put you in there, and that will give us a solid route. So if we come over here, get rid of this for a second, and we go to our format, and we go to our range. You can see our route here. If we go back to legs, and then we go to advance, and then next waypoint. See, we come out of Birmingham basically straight out, and we head north to TNT. There's all the points on those routes. You can see we have a restriction here of 2600. There's our next waypoints. And we make this hard turn. And that takes us then to the runway. Or runway 33. That didn't quite look the way it should. We should be coming in runway 23. That's why that wasn't making any sense. That's correct. Alright, so we'll go back to our regular format of that. Go back to our flight plan. And should have the regular routing. That's the one we want there. And we're going to want that out a little bit further. Something like that. Alright. So that's the routing all done. We can go to our performance initialization now. So our cruise altitude for today's flight. Let me pull up my flight plan. Is 28,000 feet. Our alternate cruise height will be 10,000. We should be able to bring in a lot of this performance stuff from here. So our passengers today, we have, where is my number of passengers? It is 66 passengers today. Our cargo will be that's total payload 66. Our payload should be 7696. So if we kick this up a bit. Okay, our fuel should be 32. Let me take that out. 32.93. Enter. This gives me slightly different ways of entering this information. Zero fuel weight should be 20. Zero fuel weight 27. Five, 2, 3. So let me change this. 27. 5, 2, 3. My fuel should be 3293. So my payload should be 7696, which is too much. So I'm going to decrease this and this. I think I'm going to have to set my auto payloads to 0 in the future. Alright, so that's done. That's done. That's performance. Payloads are set. We're within 7.3 on the chim. So we're going to set the payload in the simulator. 7.2 now. So if we look at the fuel page, 3293, that's fine. And that's correct. Alright, V speeds, we'll set all. So all our V speeds are now set in here. We got a V1 of 130. If we rotate a 130, V2 of 140, climb out speed of 150. That is all good. So we're going to be going to flaps 8, and it's a dry runway. The weather is fine, and everything is set there. So that is the performance. So if we come back to our should be copy performance initialization data to FMS. So that should now be in there. There we go. So that is all now set in. VNAV setup. So our we're 250 knots below 10,000 feet. After that, we will target 290 or Mach 7.4. That's the climb. If we go to the next page, in cruise, it's 300 knots or 0.74, and then for descent, again 290 knots. Transition altitude of 180, and then we hit 250 knots at 1,000 feet, and that is all good. So we'll execute all that. VNAV setup, performance. So this is all done. So we can go back to there. So cabin inspection will be done by the flight attendants. Walk around done by George, the first officer. And that is all good. So, originating check, oxygen test. Test, good, and test, good. Audio warning panel is checked. There's lots of things that go ding. Electrical power panel is checked. Electrical power panel there. And we'll put the nav lights on since we're inside the cockpit. Fire detection, FireX fire test monitor. That's fire detection there. And if we were looking down at the panel, we would see all the fire detection things come up. It was tested. External lights panel. It's checked. Put the logo light on as well. Fuel panel. Is checked. Bleed air panel is checked, normal, auto, ISO valve is closed, and both engines is the source. APU, we'll start the APU. So we hit the power button, and down here if we look, we can see APU byte and APU solve open. And if we go outside, we should see, there it is, the little door here on the tail has opened up. That's the air intake for the APU. And you can see it says APU door open. Oops. I'm going to go up here and we will start the APU. And if we go back to here, we can see the APU temperatures and RPM coming up. We can hear it as well. So everything is coming up. So while we're doing that, we'll go over to here. We'll open the forward cargo, the aft cargo, and the catering door. And the chocks will come out. Actually, no, the chocks will stay. We want that connected. And the parking brake should be on. Yeah, parking brake is on. Make sure that is on while we're doing this. We're on batteries right now. Oh, the APU is available. And the generators should be on, so we should be able to disconnect that. And the APU is providing power, so we can disconnect that. Alright, start panel. Start panel is checked. Hydraulics checked. Auto and on 3A. Oop, no, you go down. You go on. You go auto. You go auto. ELT switch. Arm reset. Cabin pressure. So the elevation here is for the airport elevation. 339 feet we want to set. Come down here. Cabin elevation to 339 feet. That's in case we have to return. There's no easy way to do this. Landing elevation 160, 380, 300. What's it go up by per click? 320. That's we'll go 340. It's 339. There we go. Cabin pressure is set. Air conditioning panel. second. We're back up to the air conditioning panel. Packs are off, recirculation is off, and manual is off. It is checked. Anti-ice panel, everything is off. And windshield heat we will put to low, both sides. Emergency lights are now armed. Standby compass is checked. It is facing the way we are facing. Reading correct. Node wheel steering is off. Clocks are set. Instrument panels are all checked and aligned. We can see everything. If we look down, everything is good. And upper pedestal. Upper pedestal is checked. These are in and secured. Thrust reversers are unarmed. Spoilers and are in auto. Levers forward, they're all off. Thrust quadrants are checked. They're back and shut off and locked. Avionics and radio tuning. So radios don't have to worry about. But we are going to tune in the ILS frequency. So it's 110.1. So we're going to go into nav 1 here, and it's going to be 110.1. And nav 2 will set the same, 110.1. That is set on both sides. There we go. And the ADF we will set in for Glasgow as well is 115.4. So we'll tune in. Sorry, it's 331 for the ADF. 3 and 3-1. Oh, it's gonna take a while. I had no idea ADFs went in decimals. I should be able to type these things in nowadays. We'll leave the other one on the other side. ATC will sit in 200. That's fine. I want to give up, but I'm almost there, so I'm gonna force myself to go through it. Three, 3, 1. Excellent. Trims are checked. If we look up, we have green trim, and our trim setting that we need was 7.2. So we will adjust trim up to 7.2. There we go. Yaw dampers are both engaged. They've disappeared off of here. Source select panel is in normal. So that is our originating check. Before starting checklist, passenger signs. Let's go back over to this view. No smoking. Oop, come on. No smoking goes on. Seatbelt signs go. Did that thing? Yeah, it did. Seatbelt signs are on, no smoking signs are on. Landing elevation is set. Altimeters should be 29 or 9 or 2. I've got a preset in the weather just so I'm not dealing with things, or 0130 or 1013 is set. FMS is checked and set. IRSs are aligned and set. Radios and navigators are set. Takeoff briefing is set. Takeoff will basically be a departure out on the runway, and then we are going to make a turn to 070 degrees after 1,500 feet and head towards Lum. We have a 6,000 foot restriction on climb out, so we're going to set 6,000 feet in the altitude. There we go. And of course a 250 knot speed, which it will do automatically. We will set that in anyway as a reminder. 250 knots. Takeoff briefing is complete. So, clear to start. Personal electronic devices are off. APU is on. Electrics are good. Takeoff data is set. Doors. So we'll come over to the aircraft. We will close all the doors. The front door will close. And the chocks have been removed.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the captain and crew, welcome aboard this flight. We hope you enjoy flying with us. Before takeoff, we would like to encourage all passengers to watch our cabin crew display the safety features of the aircraft.
So doors are closed. Beacon coming on. Fuel pumps will come on. Including the boost pumps. And the lower pedestal. Mott trim, alright, that's inoperable. Stab trims are set. And we should be good. Mock trim. Alright, that's we're gonna push back, and we're gonna push back tail to the left. So I'm going to use pushback helper just because it's quick and easy for this one. So fuel pumps are, as mentioned, all on. Hydraulics are auto and on. Alright. We will release the parking brakes. And we will start our push. So we're going to go back to the line here. I'm not sure how long. We're going to start both engines once we're out there, because I'm not sure how we're going to do on the push here. So he does the slide over to hook up. Yep, and away we go. So it should be tail to the left. we go. And this is the Birmingham airport. It's in beta. It's still being developed. But again, it already looks so much better than the default airport. Now, are you going to straighten out at 90 degrees? That's a pretty good push. Seems to be straightening out. Oh, very nicely done. Alright, that's good enough. We will parking brake. Yeah, parking brake is on. So engine number 1 start. It is as simple as this. We will be starting engine number 2. APU is up, bleeds are on, bleeds both sides, APU generators are on. And starting engine number 2. Packs automatically come off. And what we're looking for is 20% on the N1. Or sorry, the N2. And when we hit 20% on N2, we are going to come down. There's 20%. We will release the catch and throttle up to idle. Oop, not you. And there's the engine spooling up. We'll go outside for the second one. You see right engine start comes up, right engine fuel pump on, left engine fuel pump on, right auto ignition on. Some of the indicators have dropped off for the right engine as everything's coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention as we display the safety features and procedures of the aircraft in case of an emergency. During an emergency, please remain in your seats with your
60%, she's
seatbelt
stable.
fastened and your seats in the upright position.
Come up to
In case of a
engine
drop in
number
cabin pressure, breathing
1.
masks will drop from the ceiling and should be placed over your
Hit
head.
start.
If there is smoke in the cabin during the evacuation of the aircraft, the walkway emergency lights will display to the
See,
exits, which are located
left
here
engine start.
and here. In case of an extreme emergency landing, you'll be instructed to get into the brace position, which is executed by placing your head between your knees with your hands over your head. We would also like to remind you that you should turn off all
20%.
electronic devices. We thank you for paying attention during this brief presentation.
There she is. Fairly quiet engines. If we go inside, you can hear it. It's not too loud. So these are my inside views. This is the view over the left wing. And then this is the view out over the right wing. Alright, so both engines are up and running. So, after start checklist. Generators are in auto. Boost pumps are now off. Fuel pumps are on. Electrics are checked. They are good. Bleed valves are in auto. ISO valve is open. Air conditioning packs. Recirculation fan is on. Air is on. APU will now come off. Anti-ice not required. We'll leave the windshield on low. Engine and wing anti-ice are off. Nose wheel steering is now armed. taxi checklist. Slats and flaps, it's an 8 degree. Put her to 8. 8 degrees selected. 8 degrees indicating. If we go outside, we can see the flaps are down and the slats are extended. Flight controls. We'll come down here to the flight control page. And we can check flight controls. There's full left, full right, neutral, full forward, full back, neutral, left, right, neutral, trim 0 aileron, trim 0 rudder, and 7.2 on the stab. And thrust reversers are now armed. Flight instruments are checked, and temperatures are 0. I think it goes up to 9. Alright, so APU solve open, that's fine. Reverse arm, parking brake is armed, everything else is good. We are good to taxi. So parking brake comes off, parking brake is confirmed off. Now, 15 knot maximum. We don't want to go over 40% on the N1 for taxi. So we're going to taxi out here on Victor, and we'll go to Echo. And then Sierra down to the end of runway 33. So hopefully we get some additional user-made liveries shortly. I think we should be seeing them come out pretty quickly, and then we should see the Fly UK one come out hopefully pretty soon. But until then, I'm going to fly this Hop. It is a connector commuter sub airline for Air France. So we will we'll stick with them. Not much for ground speed here. Head over here on Delta, then come down to Echo. So I'm going to put myself on the legs page, and probably flight plan mode over on the FO. So again, still getting used to this thing. It's definitely not the Airbus. It's got no auto throttles. It's got some interesting things you have to do yourself. It flies differently. Systems work differently, so it'll take a bit of getting used to. Somehow that got switched to there. I don't want that. I want that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has advised that we are now cleared for takeoff.
Have I? Alright, so we're coming down here. You can see our route out of here. Our first waypoint is lined up. So we'll see how we go. It's a little tricky getting the autopilot on first. Usually you do it before you're past 1,000 feet. But we're gonna go into nav mode and then into and speed mode, and that should get us up and going. And then we gotta manually do the throttles. That's the big thing. So about 72% is cruising at altitude, and that keeps us around that 300 knot mark. The rest of it we just gotta play with. Make sure we do not overspeed or underspeed for that matter. Alright, here we are. So parking brake goes on. Throttle's back. Alright, lights and strobes. So, landing lights, come on. Should have had that one on earlier. It's a taxi light. Strobe lights are on. Wing inspection light is not required. Strobes are on. That's all good. Fuel cross flow. This goes to manual mode for takeoff and until we get about 10,000 feet, and then we turn it off again. We don't want that draining and imbalancing the aircraft in flight. Flight attendants are advised transponder and TCAS is down on the pedestal. So the transponder here will go to on, and it's in 2000 mode. So that's fine. And TCAS is in auto, and it is on traffic on set above, and that is all good. Radar terrain display. Weather radar is not working in this airplane. Not sure about terrain radar. It's down here. That's the display fan, avionics. Oh, sorry, those are fans. Not sure exactly where the terrain radar is. We're not going to need it for this flight. And CAS. That's all checked. Everything's secure. Doors are secure. Go to CAS. Yep, it's all set. So that goes back to status page. Alright, so back over to here. Master caution is off. Come off on the brakes, up on the throttle, and we will get ready to head out. Again, we're only going up to 24,000. Lined up on the runway. So we're going to want nav mode. Once we're in the air, we're going to want vertical speed mode. Probably want to be going up at about, well, no, we're not going to want vertical speed mode. We're just going to want climb at 250. And our source for nav the localizer. It should be the FMS. Okay. So I think we're ready to go. Engine's up to about 60%. Let them stabilize. Alright, brakes are off and takeoff mode is set. There is no flex. You can go to either well, we'll look at it later. Not a good time to be looking down there. There's 100 knots. V1 and rotate. She basically lifts off on her own. Nosing up. Positive rate. Gear up. So we're climbing out. Nose down. 180, flaps going up to 1. Nose down. There we go. It's 3,000 feet. Autopilot on. Flaps coming all the way up. Should be coming down for the altitude. Oh, we're gonna blow right through. So let's get the nose down. On course either, so there we go. We're now on climb thrust. Let's try this again. Don't know why we're doing the rocket ship thing here. Last time that happened, it had something to do with these yaw dampers. Well, that could be doing it, that too. Soul Treatise is cleared to 2400. Gotta work on getting that autopilot on. Do a vertical speed of say 2000. standard. And speed's coming up. We're going over to our waypoint. So we're getting there. Learning how to get that Alright, now where are we going?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now serving sandwiches.
Oh, it's gotten confused. Alright, let's get it to the next point. I'm not exactly sure where we're going. That is not the direction to TNT. Direct triple. Alrighty. We gotta work on this autopilot. So, 300, we gotta come back a bit now. 290 should be our max climbing speed. So definitely some work to do on autopilot engagement. For some reason my nav source isn't clicking around in DCP2. I don't know what that means. You can probably come off now. So thrust reversers will come off. CAS is checked. Blocks the information that's there. Barrel press standard, that's fine. That's the go. Yeah, not sure why that's not changing now. So we we're coming down here, so altitude capture is working, at least. Our speed is really coming back, though. Not sure why. Speed should be 300. Yeah, none of my things are moving here. Not sure what's happened. Interesting. There's our speed coming up, so we can come back a bit on the throttles now. Alright, so if we go over here to our, where is it? Our page here, it'll show us where we have to be for our place now at ASLib. Go to the next page. We got to be at 2600, so this will start showing us where we got to be, how many feet per minute we got to go down. Oh, we're supposed to be at 2,800 feet per minute? Or 2,800? Oh, it is 2,800. Okay, well, we can go up to 2,800. Clear to 2,800. Go up at about 1,000 feet per minute. So yeah, I can't change okay. Somehow this got changed around, so I can change it on his. Now, does that mean I can also change my source? Yep. If I go back into nav mode now, or actually if I tune this down, this is saying Bensby, so if I now go to nav, are you going to take me to Bensby? Or are you going to do something ridiculous? Nope. I'm going to Bensby. I think. Let's go half bank. Alright, we should be heading into the turning for Bensby. And Ribble, as you can see up here about 45, 50 miles away, is the start of the descent. We're going to go into climb power. So what this says here is there's toga power and max power. And I think I forgot to put this in takeoff mode for takeoff. So that might have been part of the problem. So many things. It's a new airplane. So you can see now for ASLIB we got to be at 2600, so it's telling us to descend now we'd have to go at 100 feet per minute. So we should also get a top of descent marker soon. So a couple of hot points here. There's on the panel here, it drops the yoke out of the way. The top one here I think is takeoff config. I'm not sure. There's one here on the bottom. I'm not sure what it does. Can't remember. We'll have to look into that one though. Coming up to level out. The speed's coming up. So as we get up to 300, start easing her back. Bring it down into the 70s. And we'll try to hold 300. Alright, we're now heading to pole. There's the top of descent marker starting to come in. So that's advising when we got to start our descent. And we'll get a what they call a snowflake on the PFD, and that will give us, we can look at what we want to target as our descent rate, and then the snowflake will tell us how we're doing on the profile. Kind of like an ILS marker. Pretty cool. So for descent landing checklist, we want to set our landing elevation for the pressurization, check our fuel, make sure the TCAS is set below the radar, check the CAS, and then the landing data. So we can start doing that. So the airport elevation is 26 feet. So we'll come back over to here. We want to dial that down. So this says down to 20 feet. 1, 2, 3. 4. So 20 feet. That's fine. Fuel. Come down, check our fuel status. So we've got 2365 kilograms, and temperatures are all good. And look at their TCAS. We'll go back into the TCAS, and we will set below. And radar is fine. Again, not sure where the terrain radar is. Oh, there it is. If I could touch that, that probably turns it off. ground proximity. CAS is checked, no warnings, everything is good. That APU door open still. Landing data. We're going to come over to performance. Our landing speeds, we will set all, and we will set our VREF. So that is now in. 136 is our VREF speed. And approach briefing. So we are going to be landing on runway 23. And we've gone through the flight plan and seen it. See for ASLIB, we're now down to 400 feet per minute to hit that restriction. I will just monitor these restrictions and stuff as they come up. And again, going to be doing about 290 on the descent. So we got a little bit. We're about 50 miles away. We're just cruising along. Heading up the west side of England right now. That's Ribble. It is fairly windy. Small airplanes can be like that. And I'm dealing with these as training flights, learning what I don't know yet, and I've got to research. So there's a few things. Why the APU door is still open. When the APU is shut off. The autopilot, remembering the to go to takeoff mode, all that good stuff. So the aircraft is pretty complete. I mean, there's only a couple things not modeled because they're not happy with the way it is in the flight sim. I think the charts, as soon as the SDK allows them to import the charts, we'll have Navigraph charts in board or on board in here. There is the weather radar. Again, they're not happy with how it's done, so it's not in here yet until that gets sorted out. But other than that, she's very complete and a very enjoyable airplane. Our next turn. So we're now heading to ASLIB. You can see we've got our descent points coming up. So if we... Well, this will not let me do it on that one. Somehow this got crossed over. So we're about 30 miles from our top of descent. Should be a ding in the cabin. I don't know if they just flicked the smoking sign. See a couple of the other airports I've got displaying here around us. eventually get this lighting glitch figured out as well. The clouds are looking a little, I don't know, a little bit pixelated. So there you go, top of descent coming up. And as you can see here, it wants us at 800 feet per minute down at this point. And we will use vertical speed to go down, and that's how we will also keep track of our how we're doing on the snowflake here. We'll up and down and adjust as we need to go. So you see 79% N1 gives us just under 300 knots, which is where we want to be, and 290 for descent. Of course, we've got that 250 speed restriction at 1,000 or 10,000 feet. We got to take into account as well. We've also got speed restrictions, 230 knots at Atlantic, and then we got to slow down, as they say, to our final approach speed of 136. All right, so what are we up to? 1,000 feet. Start dialing this in. Oh, I can't do anything yet. TCAS off. What? Alright, well, there's top of descent. It wants us at 1,500 feet per minute. Let's switch to vertical speed mode. Maybe. There we go. And we're going to want to go down to, let's call it 10,000 feet at the moment. Down at 19. There we go. And you can see the snowflake now on the side like a little ILS marker. And we're going to come back on the throttles. There's the snowflake coming up. I'm going to try to hold 290 as we descend. So it gives you the little snowflake there on beside the altitude, and at the bottom where your vertical speed is, you can see the blue dot. That's another indicator it wants you to be at. Alright, so we're now going down. Passenger signs. Just give them a ding in the back so they know we're going down. Keep the speed up. VAPI, we've got to be at 250 knots. You can see there, speed restriction of 250. So after Odigi, we'll come right back on the throttles, try to get our speed down to 250. It's 11 miles away. Slowly watching that speed. We're slightly above where we want to be, which is fine. We should pass Odigi around flight level 200. So do it an extra notch for 2,000 feet. We'll see what it does when it flips, how close we are. Although it does want 2,500 feet now. Standard weather, standard pressure when we come in. See, we're getting a little high. So go down to 2,500. Come back even more on the throttles. Pretty much back to idle. There's the snowflake, we're right on it now. Again, we'll just watch that speed. If we have to use speed brakes, we will. She's slowly coming back as the air thickens up. Now we put the ILS frequency in, nav 1, and it should also come up saying it will auto-tune for the ILS. Landing should be at 7,000 feet. So our intercept altitude is actually 2,900. So we're going to set that in now. See the banana there on the nav display for a second. 2,900, that's our final altitude. We're a little bit below, so we'll come back a little bit on our descent. Try to bring that snowflake back to the center. Alright, so we're gonna a little bit of speed brake. Start getting some slowing down happening. See them slow coming up. They're pretty gentle. It's 14,000 feet. Down to 270. Wish it didn't go to 0 every time you grabbed it. See the approach coming in there. Turn that range to 20. There we go. 260. All right, we're well below the snowflake, so we're gonna slow our descent a little bit. It's 250. Almost right on the money. Atlantic, it'll be 230. A little bit more speed brake, and again we're a little bit low. So bring that back to 1700 or 1500. Slow that descent rate down. It's 230. A little early, but that's fine. See, we're slipping below slightly. Bring the engines up a little bit. Very nice. A lot more hands-on than the Airbus. Look at that. 1.2, 350 feet to go. Four, 3, 2, flip, and we're like 50 feet above. That was awesome. Decrease a little bit more. So we're going to start bringing our speed back. So again, we'll throttle back, let the speed get down to about 200. Start dropping some flaps out. So 220, flaps 1, speed checked. the slats are extended. Start coming up on the throttle a little. We'll do the flaps 8. I'm going to keep that 200. Still descending. We're still high. So the localizer is now coming in. So I'm going to take over some vectors here. Because I want to change that angle of approach that we're coming in on. I want to intercept at a little bit better angle. Let's take off the half bank. And we're going to want to be down at 2900, so we're getting there. See, the glide slope's now showing up. We're above it, which is fine. Slowly descending. And I'm definitely watching the terrain here. Final approach course is 229. We'll be not gonna worry about it. It should be over here. That one. Source should be 229. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to land. Please remain seated until we have stopped.
Alright. 330. Watch that speed as we come out of the descent. Yeah, we are a little low for what we're doing. Alright, let's go to about there, and then we'll do the capture. End up going right down that valley. So let's point that way. And we'll put on approach mode. Oh, we overshot. That's fine. Some localizer. Alright. So, power's coming back. Alright, before landing checklists. Passenger signs are on. Cabin crew has been advised. Landing lights are all on. Reversers are on. Landing gear and flaps are next. Alright. 12 miles. Speed coming back. Airport in sight. Speed's 180. Glide slope captured, localizer captured.
Sync rate.
Not happy with that. Gear down. Flaps full. Alright, so I'm getting a little quiet here, but I'm trying to concentrate on this because it's not going exactly the plan. So I'm hand flying it in. Auto throttle to help me. Seem to have it kind of back under control.
1,000.
Even my MDA set, but It's a visual approach, so we're fine. Landing.
Sync rate.
200.
Sync rate.
100.
Sync
50.
rate.
40. 30. 20. 10.
Reverser's on. Nose is down. 60 knots. Reverser's off. Oh, that was interesting. Here's the exit coming up.
Please remain seated until the aircraft becomes complete stop.
Alright, let's get off the runway here. We'll get over the line and then we'll shut this thing down. And find a stand. Alright, now parking brake is on after landing. APU. Start. Transponder. Is on standby. Flaps are up. Lights. You're off. You can stay on. You come off. The probes. Come off. Can I come off? Yeah. Alright, probes are off. Parking brake is off. Let's go find the gate. Well, we made it down. We made it in one piece. It wasn't a pretty landing, but we got her in. Not sure what happened with the ILS there. She seemed to dive right out of the zone. All right, turn in here. And that looks like a nice gate right there. Let's see if they want to hook up the jetway to us. There we go. Parking brake is set. We'll get on board. confirm. Yep. Parking brake is set. Seatbelt signs. Will come off. Thrust levers will go. Oh, hang on. The AP is available. Yeah, that's all good. Oh. It's coming back online. Shouldn't have hit that button. Oh, maybe that's why the soft thing was. I didn't shut the power off to the APU. That would make sense. Disarm the reversers. APU is back and available. Engines are off. Anti-ice is all off. Fuel pumps are all off. Beacon light comes off. Logo light will come off. Landing lights will come off. And nose wheel. Away. Nose wheel steering will come off. Let's get the jetway. Alright, we get over here to the aircraft. They can start doing bags. Yeah. You stop thinking we're shut down. As soon as that is connected. Yes, no, maybe. Good enough.
Door.
Ladies and gentlemen, the door is open. Please make your way to the exit and please make sure you have all your personal items and carry-on luggage.
Well, there we go, folks. Our first training flight in the CRJ. I hope to get better at it. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching the entire flight. And we are here at Glasgow. We will see you next time. Bye for now.